Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Soul Rising podcast. We are all in on love, loss, and connection here. We talk all things human emotion, all the things that affect our relationship with ourselves, with each other, with the universe, source, God, whatever you believe in, doesn't matter. I'm glad you're here. Thank you so much for being here. I have an interesting guest for you today. I don't know Robb personally. Very often the guests that I have a relationship with or I know somehow. But I was put in touch with Robb when I reached out to a friend to see if he knew anybody who could talk about men's issues as it relates to mental illness, addiction, emotional, being comfortable talking about emotions, vulnerability. So I live in Castle Rock, Colorado. And apparently I have heard statistics that there's a lot of middle-aged men committing suicide. And this has got me thinking about why. And the natural inclination, my natural answer that I can come up with is because they're not talking about their depression, their anxiety, their fears, because men have been conditioned to kind of, that's weak, right? We don't talk about that girly stuff. You know what I mean? So I feel like as this shift is happening in society, in our culture, especially in America, I think this is an important conversation. So let me tell you a little bit about Dr. Robb Kelly here, and then we'll get going. You guys can hear his amazing English accent, which you're all going to love. Dr. Robb Kelly, PhD, is a sought-after recovery expert who believes in treating the causes of addiction and not the symptoms. Dr. Kelly has appeared on such shows as The Doctors, Eye Opener, Good Morning Texas, and Ken's 5 Morning News, a frequent contributor to radio and print interviews, including The Jim Bohannon Show, Miracles in Recovery, USA Today, and participated in McLean Hospital, which is Harvard Medical School's study on the stigma associated with mental illness. We'll just talk about that for sure. Dr. Kelly hosted Sober Celeb Show on KLIF Radio in Dallas and currently hosts a Breaking Through Addiction podcast featuring special guests discussing a variety of mental health issues. Dr. Kelly created Let's Get Back to 98% Recovery DVDs used in prisons and recovery treatment centers throughout the U.S. He's lectured on addiction and trauma at high-profile universities, national conferences, treatment facilities, public schools, huge, churches, business organizations, and hospitals. Dr. Kelly is currently the CEO of the Robb Kelly Recovery Group, an addiction and mental illness recovery coaching company he created based on extensive research and behavior studies that he conducted over the past 20 years. Dr. Kelly shares his personal highs and lows as he struggled and overcame crippling alcoholism in the November 2019 release of the book, Daddy, Please Stop Drinking. Welcome to the show, Robb. Really happy to have you here. How are you?
To be here. Hey, guys.
So you do a lot, and it sounds like you're very committed to helping people recover. So tell us a little bit, how did you get into this work?
Personal experiences. I came from an alcoholic family, which I didn't know back then. It was right in my family tree. That's one of the signs of alcoholism. Everyone thinks an alcoholic is somebody who drinks too much alcohol, and that's not the case. Or takes too many drugs, it's not the case. Alcohol has 1% to do with alcoholism. So I took my first drink at the age of 9, playing in a band, musical family, so my auntie and uncle. I did the clubs and bars every Friday, Saturday, Sunday night. And on this one occasion in Liverpool, I was so nervous. I'm 9 years old, for God's sake. I'm so nervous. And my uncle says, hey, here's a beer, drink it. And that was my first drink. And it was a slow decline over, 20, 10, 15 years. When I got off the streets, I promised God and myself that I'd spend the rest of my life finding out what addiction is, because it's not what you think it is, guys. So to back that up, who does it think he is? We have 5 offices around the world. I've worked with over 11,000 patients with cure addiction, and we arrest alcoholism. We also work with Alzheimer's, depression, anxiety, PTSD, all of this type of problems. And 30 years in the industry, we do what we do. We're doing very successfully.
It's awesome. Yes. I love the heart, right? Like the people that are in this work, it has to come from personal experience. I mean, there are a lot of people out there doing it because they have hearts and they care, or maybe a father or a sister or somebody suffered with addiction. There has to be something that like really compels people to want to spend their days really in other people's pain. I do grief coaching and energy healing and stuff like that. And there are a lot of people coming from backgrounds where there's a lot of trauma, a lot of pain. So a couple of things you said there that jumped out to me. The first one was that alcohol is 1%, has 1% to do with addiction. What's the other 99%? What is it about?
Childhood trauma is the gateway drug. Everybody childhood trauma, if you think or not. If you don't think you have it, you're probably worse than everybody else, because the brain, your subconscious brain, has a way of guarding you away from all the bad stuff and memories, otherwise we will go insane. So every memory that's happened, everything stored, trillions of thought patterns, and is stored in the subconscious brain. And that's where our childhood trauma is. And then alcoholism is hereditary. You know, we've traced it back to fetus level. So alcoholics are born with a predisposition, which 3 parts of the brain differ than any other addiction in the world. So when we take the first drink, all bets are on. And we've tracked and tested. We spent, I don't know, $2 million on scientific research and tests and trials around this, because I'm adamant that we can save a life every day. I'm adamant that if I'm going to do anything, and you'll hopefully identify with this, Amanda, I'm either all in or all out. I'm either going to be the best addiction doctor in the world, or I'm going to go drink. I'm not. I can't do both. But I can definitely do this one. And again, going back to your comment about, if you are a real alcoholic, you cannot work with somebody without having an experience. Now, you can help heavy drinkers and stuff like that, or people abuse. You have to know the mindset of the alcoholic to understand where he is, and you have to have gone through addiction, because you don't know how my mind works when I want to drink. When that thing goes bang, and it's for no reason. People say, oh, I'm stressed out. No, it's not because you're stressed out. It's all happened in the middle of any bang. If you don't control that and get rid of the trauma and rewire the brain, repattern the self-sabotaging movements inside the brain, you will always relapse, and you will always not keep a job, and you will always struggle in life. There is a massive life outside alcoholism, a huge life where you can do anything that you want to do. And you know, when I first come to America, the American people, which I am today, every time I said that to them, you could be anybody you want to be, they used to say, well, I can't be president of the United States. Well, let's figure out political views for a second. I don't care for politics, but you can't run away from the fact that we have a president with no political experience whatsoever running the country. Don't dare tell me you can't achieve your dreams.
Great point. Yeah, we have a saying in recovery that we can have a life beyond our wildest dreams.
And it has to be, Amanda. I don't want a normal life. Every person in the world with over 11,000 patients, probably 97% success rate. It's not. If you just stop drinking, no, that's not the deal. If you're going to stop drinking, you need to create empires. You need to go out and do something that we're not supposed to do. Oh, Robb says he's drunk again. He's an alcoholic. And what about building an empire? What about being the best in all? But what about that? And this I tell all my patients, don't settle for anything, whether it's girls or guys or we've recovered from that hopeless state of mind and body. You're going to sit around in the same old apartment, doing the same old crap, being depressed, go drink. Put yourself out with that horrible misery. There's much more out there, guys, I promise you.
You know, I have heard, it's kind of funny, I've heard that alcoholics are above average intelligence. And then I've also heard a speaker say that they've only heard that in an AA meeting, which is kind of funny. But besides intelligence, we have drive. I mean, if we applied half of the gusto that we had for drinking and drugging to building something that we care about, we're also big feelers. And you talked about having to know the mindset, right? To be able to really work successfully with another addict or alcoholic. It's also knowing the feelings. We have empathy. We connect. We know our hearts are in it because we're really looking at ourselves. So it really makes us want to do this work and give because we're also receiving, right? That's the secret sauce in staying sober, is giving it away, is being of service, right?
Yeah.
And in the big book literature in 12-step recovery, there's a whole chapter called working with others. Yeah, I'm sure there's many other ways, but for me, that it's giving something away, just altruistically, but also it's like a spiritual reward. Also, you said something about it's being hereditary. Do you have any research studies that show that we metabolize sugar differently? Because I've heard that theory as well, that that's what sets off the compulsion.
We don't believe so. We don't believe that theory at all.
Okay.
However, as we know, sugar is the root of all evil, period. So the sugar you take is obviously not good for you, but this is what happens when alcohol is gas. So the three parts of the brain are very interesting. Oh, by the way, before telling that, guys, I want to say that through our scientific research, through our testing and trials, I can categorically tell you that an alcoholic who has recovered, he's done his childhood trauma, he's the smartest guy in the room. I dare anybody to challenge that. So it's that kind of not an aid thing. This is true, guys. That's who we are. So three parts of the brain differ than any other person in the world. The amygdala, which is trying to have our control of the whole, that's more sensitive. The basal ganglia, this is very interesting. Our basal ganglia is kind of our repetition, strengthening, conferred part of the brain. So if you're going to drive a car, for instance, learn to drive a car, first day, the car feels huge, and then second day, and then third day, and what happens is looping around this pattern. So the basal ganglia, repetition, strengthen, confirms any one thing before it becomes a working part of the mind. Easy. Okay, so driving a car, after a couple of months, listening to the phone, waving to them, turn the music up, driving down the drive, all at once, become a working part of the mind. What happens with alcoholics is, if you can imagine a clock face, guys, so let's say 12 o'clock we relapse, 10 after we try and come home, 20 after the wife lets us by, 1:30 we see the kids, everything's going good, 20 to the hour we get that job offer. Wow, I can't believe I got this job. And at 10 to the hour, we smash it all down because there's a default in the basal ganglia of alcoholics. And unless that fits with all the childhood work and God and, and all the stuff that we have here, what we use, you're always going to relapse. Now that is interesting, but what the biggest interest is that we found, and this is the key, is the hypothalamus is our survival part of the brain. It tells human beings you have to drink water, eat food to survive. It's an instinct that's built inside the hypothalamus. That's all it is. If you don't eat and drink, you will die. That's what it tells us. At a certain point in the alcoholic's journey, the hypothalamus hijacks the brain. And it tells the alcoholic, if you don't drink alcohol, you're going to die. So everything else is bye-bye because my survival part of the brain is telling me that I need to drink. That's why I can go days or weeks without food or water when I'm drinking. And it made so much sense. And that was kind of a miracle finding for us because what other explanation is there? So if you're not guarded in a daily routine, a pattern with all the stuff in the past done and free, so you're a free person, when you do that, you get a spiritual awakening, psychic change, you change your neural pathways, that's all, change your mind, your DNA changes. Why is it important that your DNA changes? I ain't the same guy as I was before. So how the hell can I go down that rabbit again? Unless pull away from my daily stuff. See, them three parts of the brain reset every 24 hours. So what I did yesterday's demands. I get up this morning, I have to start that routine again. And if I forget, I'm going to lead to relapse. You see, I go to bars. I'm not going to relapse because I go to bar. Look at AA now. It's like 3%. Why? Well, step one said, what all powerless over alcohol? Because it says we were powerless over alcohol. People need to understand this. There's no cure for alcoholism, but there's no cure for the common cold or food poisoning. We just make sure we take a few simple steps to make sure that you never have that again. So if you look at the definition in the American dictionary or the Oxford English, it says an alcoholic is somebody who's dependent upon alcohol. Well, I'm not dependent on alcohol. Therefore, I don't call myself an alcoholic anymore. I used to when I go to meetings. I don't anymore because internal dialogue changes patterns. If I drop a pen on the floor, oh, you idiot, Rob. Stop that stuff, guys. See this guy in the back, the subconscious guy, wakes us up in the morning, by the way. It's a routine to get rid of this. I'll show him shortly. Grab hold of that and stores it. when you go to that interview, asking a girl on a date, whatever it is, a competence-free funded protest, and you can't get his job. What are they going to find out? Come from the protest, they're going to find out he's alcoholic. Well, hot people. Boom! Gone. Self-sabotage and out.
So you used the word arrest alcoholism. You said that we arrest it, that it's never fully gone. And then you also used the word recovered. So explain, I also believe that we are recovered. I have a hopeless state of mind and body, like you said, but it has to happen every single day, right? I can't say recovered on yesterday's spirituality or whatever I was doing yesterday. So I want you to talk a little bit about that. Why do you consider us recovered?
Well, first of all, let's just take and say that book is amazing. The book is way before its time. I don't go to the meetings. I adore the book. I still teach the book today. They talked about psychic change, and now we talk about the neuroscience behind it. Like, so this just invented, oh my God, we found and can change the patterns in the brain. Them guys knew this in 1938. Let's look at the word recovered, which is valid over here in America. Again, I'm American now. No, you can't be cured. You should never say that. You can't say recovered. Well, let's look at the word. First of all, it's mentioned in the big book 27. It's mentioned recover 17 times, and only 3 times does it mention recovering, and that's to the wives and to the employees. So let's look at the word recover. We have to remember, guys, when the Oxford group started, the reason why they called it the Oxford group is most of the guys that started went to Oxford University. So they would use the Oxford English Dictionary. This is why words are different. Like when I trudge, oh my God, that's like it's 7 minutes. You look at it in the English dictionary, it's to march on triumphantly.
Yes.
So we look at recover. What does it mean? It means to gain one's health and state of mind. That's what it means. It doesn't mean I'm cured by a dictionary, 2 different words. It means the hopeless state of mind. We no longer insane. State one health and state of mind. So my health is good. Not allergic to anything because I'm allergic to ethanol and alcohol. That's the allergy.
Yeah.
So I'm not suffering. So I've recovered. I've gained one health and state of mind back. And if I keep doing what I'm doing today on a daily basis, I'm never going to go back there. When people go, oh, well, I'm always going to say I'm recovering, so I don't want to jinx it. Jinx it? This is that clown on stage. Jinx it? Once you have a spiritual awakening and a change of mind, it's impossible to relapse if you keep doing what you do every day. And there are simple rules, of course, and structures we need to do. But jinxing it, you've either recovered or you haven't.
Yes.
In fact, I love this line from the book, Amanda. It says that if you're struggling or whatever, your attention should be drawn to you as a recovered alcoholic. Mm-hmm. The book says precise, exactly. I'm going to show you exactly how to get well. And you add all the neuroscience into that, if you get so clean and sober and you can't create an empire worth millions, come and see me. I'll do that for you. It's easy. We're geniuses, guys. Don't let anyone tell you different or not right. No, that's my past. You can't judge me on my past, but I need the past to work with people. So the past becomes my greatest asset for working. What do you know, Rob? You've never lost your kids. Check. What do you know, Doctor? I've never been homeless. Check. How many times am I going to play this game? Check. There's nothing that you're going through that God hasn't put me through. Nothing. So let's put on the same playing field. It is a disease because of the hyperbalance. Alcoholics are born, drug addicts are made. How do we know that? 93% of drug addicts that come to my clinics started in the doctor's office. You can't drink enough to alcohol to become an alcoholic. You can't, but you can tend enough just to become a drug addict. That's a very fine line, but it's a science fact that you can do that. And it's really interesting when we get into the neuroscience part of it is all the answers are there, but nobody wants to hear that. When I came to America, our license stripped on, said I was doing damage. I was teaching fu stuff. I was, crazy. It took me 6, 7 months to get my license back. I've lectured to those guys today, but they thought I was crazy. It's not crazy. Stop saying that. You're going to be an alcoholic. Stop calling yourself an alcoholic. I'm trying to stop. You're a very powerful person. Once you find your identity, which is not an alcoholic, by the way. Once you find your identity and you have that spiritual awakening and you get on board as a recovering alcoholic or addict, we become very dangerous people.
Yeah, very powerful. I personally do call myself an alcoholic when I go to meetings. I say, my name's Amanda, I'm an alcoholic. I want to keep it green. I don't want to ever forget who I am, but I don't associate that with my identity. I do not think that I am lowly, sickly, mentally ill alcoholic that has to rely on something outside of myself to make me feel that ease and comfort. Like it's not who I am. So yeah, whether you call yourself an alcoholic or not is personal choice. But what I do want to talk about is that powerlessness that you talked about before in the first step. Yes, I didn't know. I mean, I was probably sober 5-6 years. I was sitting in a meeting. This primary purpose group is called, and they're like hardcore, like thumpers, like big thumpers, right? And this guy was talking about how somewhere in probably around step 3 or something, we get our power back. I can have a glass of whatever my, drink du jour might have been, right here. I would have zero interest in drinking it. I recoil from it like from a hot flame, like it says. I'm neutral. I don't even recoil. I'm not even like, ugh. It's like not even a thing. It's like it's a glass of water. It's crazy. It's a miracle. And it is that psychic change that happens. And I just love all the science and the research and the neurology that is part of what you're doing, because people do need science. People do need black and white facts, just to come in and say like, oh, I've had the psychic change and God is doing for me what I can't do for myself and da-da-da. That's a little harder to grasp, I think, than if you're showing people like tangible evidence.
Science backs up the book.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the book you said was written in the 30s. It was written in the 30s. Like, it's not, the first 100 pages of steps, yes, I wouldn't change at all. But we know so much more now. We know so much more. And I really appreciate the work that you're doing. So can we talk about, well, first, before I talk about men, I want to get on to men. I want to talk specifically about men. But before that, you did say something else I thought was super important, that we don't drink over circumstances. We don't drink because we had a bad day. We don't drink because the wife left us. We don't drink because the cat died. We drink at weddings. We drink at parties. We drink because we drink. So can you expand on that a little bit more before we start talking about issues related to men specifically?
Most people relapse because of a couple of things. Meetings will never keep you sober, so stop paying meeting, they can make it. They don't. The book says we go there to bear witness that are still suffering alcohol. So it's my witness of being there, just like we said, I'm here. And they're saying alcoholic because you can identify and we can identify and stuff like that. But you haven't played your childhood trauma. Your childhood trauma is the gateway drug. It's telling you it's going to play all that stuff out, because if you don't, we're back to square one. If you don't know what you're suffering from, and again, sorry to go back to the book, it's genius. It's genius. It says, it talks in place a lot of the times, said, if you don't have a full knowledge of your community, you must have a muscle. There's 133 muscles.
Yes. I always point that out. People hate to hear that. I'm like, I'm sorry. There's a whole lot of musts in that book, my friend.
And promises and messages and 351 got one. So in the first 164, I was putting that out there. Got a lot of questions now. I got so excited about that.
Circumstances, like how we drink over.
Well, I'm telling his fines, if you have a cleared childhood trauma, bang, it comes from nowhere. So what you find is people that's been in a recovery or long-term recovery, it's not our cat died, we can stay solid through that. Well, because there's
everything. I'm sure you've been through hell in recovery. I've been through deaths. My brother, terrible shit has happened and I haven't had to drink.
And people think, I could be okay because my father died on the Thursday night. On the Saturday, I take a book study to a group as far homeless people. And they inspire, and we read the book, we cut it down word for word, what it means, vital. This is vital. It's necessary to life that you get a higher power, stuff like that. My father died. I didn't go in there, oh my God, excuse me today, guys, but my father, none of that business. What is my business to inspire people? I went in there and did the best book study I've ever done. And it came out, my sponsor says, hey, Rob, how you doing? What you did this week? Father died on Thursday. He's like, what? Not your business to know. I'm there to inspire. I'm there to show you the still suffering alcoholic that here's what you can be. And everyone wants to stay getting sober is hard or full-time recovery. It's not hard, guys. You just got to stop listening to the myths out there. You know, there's lots of myths that people in all groups become amateur psychologists, and just because they believe in something that, well, this is where my sponsors took to, we'll do a step a month. I don't know about you. A step a month, I'm going to die. And that's what they tried to do with me. All these heavy drinkers that were sponsors didn't even know about the book. And because they could stay sober and I couldn't because there was no work being done, I kept relapsing. Yeah, and they didn't keep relapsing. So I think I'm the problem. I can't get this. When really the so-called educators don't know shit about what's going on. So you have to have a full knowledge. You have to be in this position where you understand that relapse is not part of recovery. It's part
Thank you. Hallelujah. Amen to that, Rob. Thank you.
Well, that's why me and you are here today. If we could save a life today.
Relapse could be part of your journey and your story, but it's not a part of recovery. There's no room for recovery. Means you're not drinking. Recovery means sober, right? I know a lot of people who've relapsed many times and have long-term sobriety now, and it was part of their story. They had to hit a bottom, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, co-signing that, I'm with you. But all right, I love how fired up you are. Let's talk about men's issues specifically. Why do men feel like they have to shoulder this huge burden? They're not allowed to talk about how they feel. They hide their depression. Let's talk about that.
Well, where I grew up, I don't care where you are in the world, men were always taught from, men don't cry. You got to be tough, sit up a lip, really just bear through it no matter where you're going from. Don't let anybody know what you're going from. Kanzi, like my guys used to say, if you, start to share something that I'm suffering from a little bit of depression. I used to work on the doors back home in between college. I was a doorman. Can you imagine me turning around to it? 300-pound doorman and going, I don't something out. I'm a little bit nervous there. What? You can't do that. And we're conditioned that we're the breadwinners and we have to be the strong ones. And that's just not the case, because where that will get you is dying. You're going to die a lot earlier before you should. And people don't understand that the fear, the resentment, the upset, the crying, the emotions all over the place. This isn't stuff that, oh my God, I'm going through is because I'm weak. The anterior cingulate cortex, it's torn, you're in conflict. When you are drinking stuff and trauma, it shrinks. It becomes underactive. That's why when people first get sober, they're all emotional. It's part of the brain telling you that. It's not you being weak. Oh my God, the ventricular prefrontal cortex, same thing. It's our stress and coping part of the brain. That also is underactive. So you're stressed out and you can't cope and everything's... Slow down, man. Slow down. We are leaders, whether we are suffering from addiction, whether we are suffering from depression, we are still leaders. But I'll tell you something, if nothing else, they've been on this earth 64 years and in this business 30 years, is what you are going through now is a semester at Harvard University. What God's taking you through now is prepping you for this amazing journey that you're going to be going. That's the bottom line. Men need to stand up and go, you know what, I'm hurting. What are you going to do about it? That's all I said was, hey, guy, can I just tell you something? I find my group and I find my people around me that I surround myself around to understand what I'm going through. And at the time, it was recovering alcoholics and addicts. Because that's the only people that understand that. The reason why I keep crying is because, see, once you get a science indicator part of the brain is happening, you kind of go, oh, wow, I thought it was me. I first thought, no, it's not you. We are leaders. Women are leaders. We got to take away the spike that we're supposed to be tough. Some of the toughest guys over the years that I've worked with, MMA fighters, that behind their eyes out trying to get well. When you cry or upset, it's not weakness. If you don't let them tears out, if you don't talk to somebody about that depression, it's going to harm you. You have to get that out. Find somebody you can identify with. I'm not even talking about sponsor, contact, counseling. Somebody knows that you're going through this and you can let it all go. Because if you don't, you will relapse or commit suicide or something like that. You can't take it, man. Not in 2025. Now, 100 years ago, it might have been different. Just because you're suffering from something, can't stop drinking, you must be weak. Got nothing to do with the difference. Mm-hmm. It's not be emotionally healing. from my childhood trauma and who I am today, finding my identity to go on and do God's work. That's it. Anybody out arguing or arguing with that, they're not your guys. They're not your people.
Mm-hmm. They're probably afraid of their own vulnerability, right?
100%.
Right. If somebody's like, oh, yeah, no, you don't do that. You said like, yeah, you're just told not to cry. I always say little boys, they're handed a truck. No, don't cry. That's the message, unfortunately, that you men have been given. And then also what has been drawing to my attention lately is the negative perception of crying or being more, I guess, feminine or sensitive, that we are the ones who cry and we're emotional and we're sad. And then that's seen as a negative. That's seen as something that's bad, that you shouldn't be. Just the stigma, right? Not just about addiction, the stigma around like women who we are. We're hysterical. We get upset. We're hysterical. And it's like this big negative connotation. So for a man to associate with feeling what would be considered feminine, there's that belief that it's shameful. There's something wrong with it. There shouldn't be, I shouldn't do it because it's bad. So I think once we can get to a place where we can normalize all of our emotions as a human being, whether you're born man, born woman, whatever it is, doesn't matter what genitals you have, you are a human being with a range of emotion and none of them are bad. So I feel like once we can start seeing ourselves in less of those roles of man and woman, what you're supposed to feel and what you're supposed to feel, and just we can feel it all. I don't have to overexert myself and be too tough to show up in a man's world. And I also I can just balance. I can balance it all. And I think that's what we're missing.
Life's about balance, Everybody has a feminine side. And the harder you try to hide it, the more problems you're going to have. You gotta have fun with it, guys. Stop giving a shit what people think about them. If I do this, people might think. They did a study on Mercedes cars once. And they found out after asking 1,000 people or something, that the only reason why they were driving a Mercedes is because the badge in the next door neighbor pissed off and jealous about it. They knew nothing about the engines. They didn't know how fast they could enough. It's because of the badge. Fuck the badge. You have your own identity. Stand up and be counted. Be you. Don't care what anybody. The biggest thing I did, I'm 64. When I was 60, I started to believe. My wife got me into it. Stop giving a shit what people think about you.
So how can people get there? Because I think it's easy to say not to care, to create your own identity, to stop hustling, to stop trying to measure up. And, this also speaks to low self-worth, right? It's probably a whole other episode. But like how, and maybe it is by shoring up your self-worth. How do you help men specifically stop trying to fit some kind of mold that they're supposed to be and just be themselves?
Find your identity, first of all, by going back and doing your trauma work and find out who you are. This is where people suffer. You've been out of company for 20 years, now we're so letting you go. That's your identity in the company. Like you're in a relationship, you're married for like 20 years. When they split up, the wife's got no identity. It was his games, his football, his TV, but you have to find your identity. You have to go back and uncover, discover, discard of this stuff and realize that you are so powerful, man. So powerful. It would scare you if you realize by doing, I hate to say the word, but with others different. We use lots of modalities and tools to get you there. But yeah, you're going to want to heal and step forward and call me. I have gatekeepers. I'll give you my phone number for all the training guys. Because if you're going through that thing now, I'm going to give you my personal cell phone number. You text me on that, okay? I'll text you back immediately. I'm having in session, but I'll call you up. We'll have a 15-minute conversation. That will change your mind. Okay? That's it. So we've got to start standing up. We've got to be proud. There's a way that guys walk. There's a guide code out there that when you know your identity, you can walk into a room and not see a damn thing. We've all seen that guy walking. I used to go inside a door in a room. I used to sit there quietly and wondering who lets me in here. Now I kick that door down and wondering, I like here. So set that trend, but you have to go back and find out you are. What was you like when I was a musician? A musician. I want to be a football. You can do anything you want to do. See, this is where the identity and this is where it all starts. Back home, we used to do football. But here I could imagine in the streets as kids, you're throwing the ball around, you know, and you're probably 7, 8, 9, 10, or something like that. Johnny, what do you want to be when you grow up? We're a footballer. Hey, Billy, what about you? I want to be a doctor. What about you, Jim? I want to be... What happened to their dreams? They were kicked out of us by our family and friends. Don't be stupid, Robert. You can't go to college like your brother because you're too stupid. That's what I used to get told. And that's where it started. The less than, less than. You know, guys, I want to say something to you right now. Get this into our heads. We're never going to be tall enough, thin enough, rich enough, or blonde enough. Period. You serve in this world. It's no good, man. We have to make an impact. And the only way you do this is go through the shit that you're going through. Have to do the childhood trauma. Real childhood trauma. I don't mean, I had a car crash. No, that's not the trauma. Yeah. The real trauma. Alcoholics hear things different than normal people.
Yeah.
Directives to us from our parents don't sound like directives. Me and my brother on the kitchen table. Well, you get down at the kitchen table before your father gets skinned. Get down. Brother jumps off. I freeze. Why do I freeze? Central nervous all backed up. My brain's all backed up because I'm born this way. What I hear, up that table. So I freeze. So you've got to go back and you've got to clear it up. Once you find your identity, once you find out how powerful you are, once you find out that you're one of the biggest leaders that you've ever seen, because I would hate for you guys to get to the age of 18, look back on your life and realize there's nobody watching and you really could have done anything you wanted to do. But that would be a crime, man. Stop thinking yourself as small. Stop thinking yourself as weak. We have to express those things. We have to go through all these healing that God's taking you through. It's not even a healing. It's like a semester of Harvard. Like I said, we're getting educated and all this stuff. Don't fall on the final exam. Don't pause. Not for it is for you. Alcoholics and addicts, especially alcoholics, have been chosen in this world. Now, many die, as we know, before they find because they give up, surround our people who don't give a shit about them, they're validated as a kid, all this stuff, and they pass away. But the guys that make it have been chosen.
We do some amazing things. Like there are so many celebrities, musicians, people in power that people don't know are sober. Some of us, we just know, but like it's anonymous, right? Whatever. It's pretty crazy the power that we have inside. We're born different. Like you were chosen, like you said, like our souls. I believe I chose to be an alcoholic to then find a spiritual path. And it's just my grit. It's my survivor. Like there's just a survivorness in you, in me, in the people who turn lemons into lemonade, like, and on steroids, right? Like you're doing. So that's freaking amazing. I love your quote. You're probably known for it, but that childhood trauma is a gateway drug. That is it. Thank you, Dr. Kelly, for telling us that, because that is what it stems from. Right? Like I was just telling my husband before, like, I feel like I have soul lessons. I have soul missions. I have a purpose. Like I believe in reincarnation. I believe I, chose things that I need to learn. And I'm not going to be able to evade that lesson, no matter how nurtured I was, no matter how, what my lesson my road might be smoother. I might not have to tumble down hit my face a million times on the way to learning this lesson, if perhaps my childhood was a little bit smoother and I had just, and nobody's to blame. I always talk about our parents. They did what was done to them. We're living in a time where we're taught to question. They weren't taught to question. They'd get a smack across their face if they questioned. You're a little older than me, but your generation after my generation, we're waking up to saying no, we're not going to do this the same way. So I do feel blessed for every single experience I've had. I'm one of those grateful alcoholics. I'm grateful for all the pain, because I probably would not have sought this way of life if it wasn't life or death.
You have to understand one thing, guys, that you'll be on the pink cloud. And on the pink cloud for 30 years. Ain't coming up for no.
Yes, the pink cloud never has to go away, for sure.
Surround yourself with the people that you want to be. Anyone negative around you, get rid of it. I've just lost 50-something pounds.
Wow.
Over the last 18 months. Someone said, "Hey, Robbie, I see you putting work on." No, I'm just, I'm joking. He's gone. He's gone. I haven't got no time for that. Because that plays my mind if it catches me, oh God, it's like, don't hook up with these people. You're staying in a relationship for way too long now, bro.
Yeah.
Stop way too long, because we're scared of what happens. No leader, no famous, blah, blah, blah people ever got to where they are by sitting in the comfort zone. The comfort zone is where you go to die. And whether you're 20 or 100, the comfort zone is where you'll die. And when you do die, you will not accomplish anything. Because for me, it's not about money. It's not about all stuff. For me, is if my brain sets in 24 hours, what am I going to do to them? What am I going to pack into them that's going to save a life, make a difference, and inspire people? You've got to be doing that every day. And you have to psychologically be in a position where you're powerful enough to carry this out. I mean, there's work to be, there's things to be done. And I'll tell you something now. Where I started to get famous, when I started working with all these movie stars, when they were flying me around $100 million jets, there's a couple of things I struggled. One was girls a lot younger than me coming up to you, giving the phone number when I'm speaking on stage. You can't say yes to that shit. That's the hard part.
You have to keep your ego in check. You have to. Humility. Humility is the founding principle, I think, with every step, with everything that we do. And that trains the energy to just bring you more.
Yes. You've got to stay true to the cause. So you can't be, doing all God's work and it's stealing from work. You can't be sleeping with the next door neighbor's wife. You can't do that. And sometimes that's hard. For me, it is. Because I come from the projects. I come from a very, very, very poor family. So when you've got to obviously keep checking, so what do I do? Surround myself with people I love, we think you're we're standing across there. My current wife, should I say, I wasn't married 10 years ago when it happened, but they flew us out to Paramount Studios, did some filming, and they picked you up from the house and they do chauffeurs and planes. And we got there, we did the show, and standing ovations, amazing. I come off, and I don't know why to this day, but I barked at my wife, "Where's my chauffeur?" Now, she wasn't married, so we did dating for about 6 months. And I'd never heard her said anything like, but she walked up and she slapped me across the fence and said, "If I ever hear you say that again, this is not going to work for me." And then she carried on walking. And I was there for a second thinking, who the hell did I think I am? This is not that what? But it happens, man. So the guys at home, you're going to build an empire, you're going to do a job. You'll get something like that happen. You need people around just go, "No, not putting all that shit up." No.
You would check. Checked you. Totally.
Cross.
I want to say also, when you talked about being in rooms with different types of people, it might take some time to build up that self-worth and that confidence and self-esteem. But if you're trying to grow in any area of your life, whether that's with addiction or whether that's your career or whatever it is, be in rooms with people who have what you want.
Yes.
Be people that can elevate you. Being a big fish in a small pond, that's all ego, right? That's not going to do anything for you. I have to put myself in rooms with women who I admire, who I respect, who I might be a little intimidated by. And then I learn what they're doing, right? And I don't think I'm less than. I don't show up feeling I'm less than, but I'm in check. And I know that these people have an answer for me, right? So I have to enter these spaces like eager to kind of glean what I can from people instead of showing up being the head honcho. That's just, you're never going to get ahead that way.
You've always got to be around the people who want to be, because the subconscious brain slaps you right back to an old behavior. This is young school girl. I think she was around 16. Back in Manchester, back in 1959 or 1960. And she was snatched off the side of the road, kidnapped. There was a huge amount hard no we could find. After a couple of months, they pulled people off their search and there was only one person on. And she was soon dead. There was a police car followed another car down a country road, meaning he had a broken backlight. So he closed them on. The easy way back in the day to see if it's your car, they would ask you what's in the trunk. You have a jacket, pair of boots. Yeah, it's definitely your car or where you go. But when they pulled this guy over, it's very stringy. And what they found in his trunk was a stolen screwdriver. That's all. No receipt. Time still up in the day to tighten water. So now they're allowed to go back to the house to find out what other stuff he stole. They come up with lawnmowers, there was ladders, there were drills. Found this box in the corner, and it was 4 foot high by about 12 foot wide. And they said to him, "You've got more stolen stuff in there, we know you." And he said, "I don't really about that box." They smashed the locker and they opened the top, and there was the girl up in this limit. She was alive, she was bruised and battered, she was laying in his box. He used to take out every day a pizza, a food, mushroom, back in box several times a day for 9 months, guys. When the police woman, she leant over, she took this child and she helped to step out the box. She took her police coat off and she wrapped it around the girl. What's the first thing the girl did? She got back in the box. That's what we did tonight. That box needs to be smashed because that's where the stainless covers on that's paid for. Manager's job, paid for. We're going to stay in because I know exactly what's going to happen, the beating. I know, so I'm going to stay here. And you don't grow, guys, and it's very dangerous to do that. You have today. You don't have yesterday, you never know how tomorrow. You have today. So if you're living with if you're going home at night time, both man and woman, and either of you walking down on eggshells, get another wife or husband. If you're going to work and you hate your job, get another job. Oh, Dr. Robb, it's really not that easy. It really is that easy. Stop putting these things in boxes that you can't achieve. You can achieve anything you want. Well, I failed twice. Go speak to the Beatles. Well, I don't with it. Go speak to J.K. Rowling. It was turned down over 100 times, but she's still the first woman billionaire author. You might not get it first time. You might not get it second or third time. But if you've got a desire to do something, God's got you lined up for that. And he will give you that when he and you have done all your training and are ready. Can you imagine me coming straight up the street, straight in this office now? I would go, I'd be dead with it. I'd be in failures. You get it when the time's right. Please, please, please stay the course. Stay the course, because I'm telling you now, you'll have more gifts. As soon as you start working, as soon as the alcohol and drugs stop, it's like the blinkers, like on a horse, do this. And people go, oh my God, I got this job offer. Then things were always there, guys. It's just that you never seen it. It's your world. God, I wonder if I could earn like $200 an hour. I wonder if I could earn $800. And I kept pushing it. And I earned $1,400 an hour. I kept pushing it. It's like, where is this going to end? Wherever you want it to end. Because they're coming to you for help. They're coming to you for business. They're coming to you. You are the man, guys. And you have to start realizing that. Do not feel powerless. There's no such thing as power. Dr. Robb, it's absolutely impossible. And I do this to them before you do it. I'm throwing you an apostrophe. Put it between the I and the M. It's not impossible. I'm possible. I keep telling your brain that, and it will pick it up, and the internal battle will get better, and your actions will get better, and you'll be clearer thinking, and you can realize that, hey, that job that I thought I'd never get, I'm going to apply. I bet you get that job then. I bet, because it's all, the brain doesn't know the difference between the truth and the false. It doesn't know the difference. So what's reality and what's made it? It doesn't know the difference. So why not? Here we go. Listen carefully. Why not create your own reality? God will help you build that. As crazy as it may seem, God will make you build that, man. And anybody that's doing as good as you or better will never negatively comment on anything that you do. It's always that nasty comments from the guy who's back at his mom's bedroom, with 3 marriages, 10 kids that don't see him, and he's typing on the computer that you're a piece of crap. What? We're going to listen to him? But what?
Yeah. Where that stuff is coming from. Totally. Well, you are very motivational, very inspirational, a lot of heart. I love it. Thank you so much for being here. Can you tell everybody where to find you, how to work with you, all the good stuff?
Okay, guys, here we go. So if you're just listening, not watching, I spell my name with 2 B's, ROBBKELLY.com, RobbKelly.com, or Dr. Robb Kelly in any search engine will come up. See all the great stuff that we're doing on the website, and got also Breakbox is the new software that we're using now. It's reforms great. It's really, you can do that online. Jump on. They're a non-profit as well. Jump on there. It's all on the website. But listen, if you've got to the point of going through the stuff that I'm going to talk about, if you're sat in a bedroom or a house, nobody's there, everybody's there, you're thinking and contemplating on suicide, 214-600-0210 is my personal number. You send me a text. I'll text back almost immediately. Then she'll show up and we'll arrange a 15-minute pep talk that's going to change you. That's it. And I'll tell you why I do. I would rather give me 30 minutes on my time than hear me suicide this. I don't care if you call me at midnight. If I'm up and I answer it, we've got time together. that the people that are struggling must bear witness. The other guys and all the stuff and the money and all that comes in these companies, I can't get involved in that stuff. But hearing one person at a time with what it's about.
Yeah. Yeah. Just be kind, love each other, have compassion, be there for one another, slow down. I love that you're so willing and able to be available for people. I think that's beautiful and huge. And Rob, you are just a breath of fresh air. So thank you so much for being with us today.
One more quickly. Daddy, please stop drinking the last thing my daughter's.
Oh, well, yes. Here, pick it up. Show us. Put it in the view here.
That's me and my daughter. That's me wasted on a visit. That girl was estranged for 30 years. And 4 years ago, she contacted me in Messenger. And we were crying away. And we went over there straight away. And she handed you my granddaughter. All this great stuff. She's not all with Americans. The reason why I'm showing what don't like farmers and guys. Message me or message Amanda. I got 10 free books. I'll sign it to you. I'll pay for them, mail it, all that stuff. We're going to send it to you free of charge, guys. I'm not trying to sell everybody else. That's not my reason to be here.
Thank you for coming to the States. We need you. We need you here. I appreciate you. UK is missing out, but we got you here. So thank you so much, Rob.
Thank you so much.
Take care.